Brian Palavaro on far here with Jared Hazen after his third place finish at the 2015 Lake Sonoma 50 mile. Congratulations, Jared.
Thank you.
I do believe you came here with one purpose, and that was to get a Western States qualifier.
It was.
Check mark.
Check mark. It was a success.
Yeah. And quite a strong success. You got to really run with some top runners for a good long while. What was it like running with that crew?
Yeah, it was kind of my first time doing that, for sure. It was hard. The first 25 miles was pretty quick. Spent a lot of time with Rob Carrar and Seth Swanson, just behind, Mike Age and Alex Varner. And yeah, I mean, I was working pretty hard in the first 25 miles. A little worried about what might happen the second half of the race, but it turned out all right. I kind of stayed pretty steady. Second half.
So how do you get yourself to mentally, aside from the physical component of like pushing hard, you're with Rob and Seth, and you were 14th at Western States and are new to the sport, and they were 1-2. Like, is it disconcerting?
It wasn't like I'd fit in real well there. I mean, well, I came in with I told myself I'm going to run with the leaders, or with a chase pack. And I've run enough races now where I've run really conservative and tried to catch them, and it hasn't worked. And so I was like, no matter how bad it feels, at least for the first half, I'm going to run with them. And then at that point, it was like, well, I don't have much to lose, so might as well hang on for as long as I can.
So you're going out to the turnaround, mile 25. Somewhere in there you catch Jim Walmsley, but there's three guys. You Varner, Aish, and Bacher ahead of you.
Yeah.
Carrar takes off. What's going through your head?
I didn't think I'd be seeing him again.
Yeah.
He was flying. At that point, I wasn't feeling so hot. I was even Seth Swanson kind of dropped me for a while after that, and I was thinking, well, here goes my race. And then Jorge came along, and I was like, well, why don't you try to keep up with Jorge? And he was moving. He was moving good, so there's a couple big climbs in there, and we worked up those pretty well, and kind of Seth fell off the back a little bit, and then me and Jorge had a pretty good battle there for a while. We're kind of going back and forth.
So less working together and more fighting for.
Well, I would say it was working together. I mean, it's kind of like hard to fight with Jorge, like kind of smiling all the time.
Exactly.
But I think we definitely benefited from running with each other for sure.
When did you have to say goodbye to Jorge?
So I'm thinking it was right around with like 17 to go, or about 17 to go. There's like a water stop there, and
it's a little just water stop, Wolfo.
Yeah. So I kind of I think that was where I dropped him for good, and I was running pretty hard. I was feeling good actually from there until the aid station that's like 12 miles out. Yeah. I was hammering pretty good, and I kind of gapped him and couldn't see him, and I was like, I'm going to lay it on now and really try to put some time on him. I don't want it to come down to like the last few miles. And so did that, and then
when did you pass or find when did you pass Carrar and Aish? Who was first?
Carrar was first. I can't quite remember where I passed him. It was maybe a couple miles or a few miles before the aid station that's 12 miles out from the finish, and he was walking. Didn't look so good. And then Aish was like immediately before that aid station with 12 to go. He was walking too. Neither of them looked too good. I was like, well, they're probably done, but I was like, if they come back from the dead, I don't, I was worried. I was like, they could be stopping
They
me.
both have wheels.
Yeah, for sure.
So here you are. You're in front of them with 12 miles to go. They're behind you. You still have Ryan and Alex ahead.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about those guys. I was hurting pretty good. Yeah. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be catching anybody. I'm more focused on holding some people off. At that point, I was on the podium. I didn't want to give that up. And that was a secured Western spot there.
Yeah, you knew that. So
I was like, okay, working pretty hard still. Those last 12 miles. And I got to that last aid station. You do a short out and back, and it's a quarter mile each way. And I didn't see Jorge. I didn't see anybody. So I was like, what? Gives me at least 4 minutes with like 4.5 miles to go. I was like, all I have to do is keep moving at a decent pace, and I'm probably going to take third.
Does that allow you to like sort of change your mindset and to be, keeping an honest effort, but be conservative to finish?
Definitely. I was hurting pretty bad, but I probably slacked off a little bit in there for sure. Hiked some of those hills.
Would you still call it your best ultra to date?
Yeah, for sure.
So you have Western States on your dance card now.
I do.
Anything between now and then to tune up, or do you have to revise your schedule at all? Or
no, I didn't really have a schedule to begin with, so I won't do anything between now and then. I think this is enough, and it's kind of coming up pretty quick. I don't think it's necessary to do a race between now and then.
What will your training look like? Like what? May is a training month. What will your typical week look like for you?
It'll probably be, it'll be a little bit more than what I was running for this race, but I tapered back my miles quite a bit. A fair amount for this race as compared to what was usual. Maybe, run about 100 miles a week. So I'll probably do, some 100-mile weeks, maybe get up to like 130, possibly 150, and still try to do a lot of good workouts like I was doing before this race. And like last year training for Western, I was running like as many miles as I could. Like I had like a 200-mile week, a few weeks before Western, and several 180-mile weeks, and I was running a lot. And that's kind of typical for me, except for before this race, and it turned out well.
So maybe looking to decreasing the volume some, still a very heavy volume. Yeah. But with a little more sharp stuff in there, more quality workouts.
Definitely. Yeah, a lot of hill workouts. Hill workouts are hard to do when you're running like 180 miles a week. You're just tired.
So when you're doing 180 miles a week, are you doing like doubles every day, or is it like, or is that like 25 miles a run every day?
Most days is a double. Sometimes I'll do just a 4-hour run in the morning, and usually it would be like a 3-hour run in the morning, an hour in the evening, and then like when I'm running that much, I'm doing my longest long runs, like an 8-hour long run, and then followed by like a 4 or 6-hour long run. But yeah, usually most like weekdays it's double.
Yeah, and is that all stuff in the mountains, or are you mixing it up on mountains and roads? 'Cause that's a lot of it. Thinking about that in terms of mountains, like that's a full-time job right there.
That is like a lot. Well, it's a lot of time. Yeah. It's 30 hours a week. That's a lot of time to be spending running. But yeah, most of it would be on trails. I've kind of been all over the place. I've tried. I never run too much on the roads. I sometimes will try to do workouts on the roads, but I'm always trying new things. But a lot of it, that tends to be trails and getting in climbing.
And you've taken sort of an unconventional route. You grew up in Pennsylvania, and now you're living in Colorado, sort of a postponed college. Is that to focus on running specifically, or?
Yeah, it definitely was. When I was in high school, I had a lot of ideas as to what I wanted to do in college. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, and college is a big decision. It's expensive. You have to take out a lot of loans, and I knew I wanted to do running. So if I spent a couple years running, it wouldn't be wasted. And that's what I didn't want. I didn't want to go to college for 2 years and drop out. Yeah. So it's been a good 2 years. It was a good choice for sure.
You can see yourself continuing down that route for a little while, or?
Yeah. I don't know. At least until August. I'm tentative on going to college this fall. I think I don't know. I feel like I should, but I don't want to. I don't want to leave Colorado. I don't want to go back to Pennsylvania and go to school, which is kind of tough. But it's probably looking like I will be in college this fall.
Somewhere back in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
How do you get into running? Did you go straight to ultras running, or did you run in high school?
Yeah, I ran high school, kind of typical cross country track. The only reason I started was kind of a friend talked me into it, 7th grade. So yeah, I did it for a while, and I wasn't very. I would say I was decent. I was not good by any means. And then my junior year came around in high school, and I started running a lot more just to get better at cross country and track. And yeah, I started running a lot more miles, and like I was running, you know, by the time track rolled around, I was running 100-mile weeks, and and then kind of started running trails and really liked that a lot more than track and cross country. And ultras, yeah, fit really well with that, you know.
How did you even hear about ultra running as a, you know, a high school student?
Yeah, it may have just been the internet, just reading stuff, but there's also an ultra in Titusville, and on the trails that I was, you know, running on. It's called the Oil Creek 100. Yeah, and so I may have heard it. Maybe I heard of that first. I can't quite remember, but yeah. And then when I mean, there's this loop that's the majority of the race. It's a 27-mile loop, and I was doing that, and I was like, well, I mean, I can run 50K. You know, I was like, what's it like to run 50 miles? Can I run 50 miles? And then after I ran 50, I was like, well, can I run 100?
So you ran a 100-mile while you were still in high school, or did it right after?
It was shortly after, yeah. I don't know, 4 months after I graduated, I think.
But you were planning on that at that point.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your great run this today, and good luck for getting ready for Western States. See you out there.
Yeah.